So before this video begins, I shall say that there's going to be a lot of Faroese pronunciation in this one, obviously. So I'm not Faroese, I do not speak Faroese, so yeah, with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Welcome to the land that has more sheep than people, the Faroe Islands. So first of all, the autonomous Faroe Islands are within the Kingdom of Denmark, located in the North Sea. There are 18 different main islands shown here, all of which are inhabited except for one. The most populated of which is Streymoy with 24,000 people. This island hosts the capital city of Tórshavn. Now when it comes to the smallest populated island, other than the uninhabited island of Domini, the least populated of which is the island of Kolta with a population of just one person. I bet that guy is so lonely. The islands can be divided up into 6 main regions, but because we have the time, I'll briefly talk about all of the 18 different islands. We will talk about them in a bit, but for now, let's talk about their climate. The islands are generally cool, cloudy and windy throughout the year, but to go into more detail, the weather can change dramatically throughout the day, making it very unpredictable. One moment it's really sunny, the next it's really windy, and then it rains, and it may even snow. Apparently there's a saying in the Faroe Islands, if the weather is bad, wait 5 minutes. What is interesting is no point is further than 3.1 miles away from the sea on the islands, so you're never far away from the beaches or the cliffs. The capital, as mentioned before, Tórshavn, is located on the southeast on the island of Streymoy, with 13,000 people in the capital. It literally has over half of the population on the island. This is where the vast majority of sites are and tourists go to. In fact, I went there back in 2014. Yeah, so what sites are on these islands? Well, each island has its own sites, which we will talk about now. The island of Streymoy is the southernmost of all the Faroe Islands, has a population of just over 4,500 people. The island is well known for being the only coal mining island of the Faroe Islands, along with its birds and 2 pillboxes last used in World War II. To the north of the island, you can see Domini, which is our next island we will talk about. With a population of 0, as mentioned before, Domini is the only uninhabited island of the Faroe Islands. It is also the smallest of the Faroe Islands. However, there is sheep on the island, and if the weather permits, people do visit it via ferry. The island is often seen with clouds covering it, as shown here. The next island we will talk about is Streymoy, where you can see the previous island we just talked about. With a population of only 10 people, the island supports a small farm on the south of the island. There is also some tourism in the summer months. To the northwest of Streymoy, there is Streymoy, with a population of just 40 concentrated on the eastern part of the island in the village of the same name. The island is only well known for being a breeding ground for birds and also having a man called Sigmunda Brettisson who introduced Christianity to the Faroe Islands back in 1000 AD. Now to the north of Streymoy, there is the island of Sandoy with over 1,200 people. It is well known for its cliffs, birds and a large potato farm on the island. The soil is apparently really good here for crops. There is also an underground tunnel being built to connect it with Streymoy. To the north of Sandoy, there is the small island of Hester. With a population of just 20, the island's population declined dramatically after a fishing incident back in 1919, killing 1/3 of the population of the island. Other than that, it's only really known for its swimming pool and the lake Fagradalsvatn. To the northwest, the island of Kolta, as mentioned before, is known for having 1 person on it. Apparently it is the only island running as an organic farm. Today it has some tourism in the summer months going to the abandoned settlement there. Going west of this island, you'll reach the island of Vega, with a population of just over 3,300 people. The island is well known for having the only non-helipad airport in the Faroe Islands. It is also known for the 2 abandoned villages Vika and Sleiptanes. You probably most likely know the island for that lake that looks like it's about to tip over. I personally love the shape of the island as it reminds me of a dog. Going further west, the most western of all the Faroe Islands, the island of Mykines has a population of only 10 people. Mykines is only really known for its cliffs where loads of puffins are, along with the lighthouse on the west of the island. To come here you have to book beforehand. Going east to the island of Norway, this island has a population of just over 220 people. However, this is increasing each year, apparently because house prices here are particularly good compared to the capital, and only being 20 minutes from the capital, the island is tempting to settle. It is mainly known for its lighthouse. Going north, we finally reach the main island, Streymoy. With a population of over 24,200 people, Streymoy is easily the most populated of all the islands. It represents alone 45% of all people in the islands. The capital, Tórshavn, has many sites, including the stone monument, which commemorates World War II, in which over 200 Faroese lost their lives in the conflict. Tórshavn Cathedral, the Nordic House, the SMS shopping centre Tórshavn, the Faroe Islands Aquarium, and finally the Skansen Fortress. Outside of the capital in Streymoy, you can see the beautiful mountain scenery and see the other villages surrounding the capital. Finally in the north, there is the Donald Trump Rock. To the east of Streymoy, there is the island of Streymoy. Streymoy is the second largest of all the Faroe Islands and the second most populated with just under 11,500 people. The island is well known for the risen Og Kellington, which are the two rock formations off the coast. Streymoy also is known for being linked to Streymoy by the Streymoy Bridge. Lastly, the island hosts the largest mountain, Slatteriende. Further to the east, the island of Kalsoy, with just 76 people, is well known for its many myths and legends, most notably the Seal Woman of Mikadula story and the Troll story of the village of Trollness. The island is also well known for its lighthouse, its mountains, birds and valleys. Some of the upcoming James Bond movie, No Time to Die, was filmed in the north of Kalsoy. Heading even further east, you reach the island of Kunoy. This island has only a population of just over 150 people. These people live in two different villages, the village of Kunoy on the west coast and Haraldsson on the southeast coast. The island is only really known for the tunnel and the abandoned village ruins of Skarrow. Going southeast this time, the island of Bordio, with its population of over 5,200 people, is fascinating. The island hosts not only the second largest town in all of the Faroe Islands, the town of Klasvik, but also the abandoned villages of Skatallafossa and Mulli. Sorry for the pronunciation. Apparently there's no ruins of Fossa, but there are of Sklatofir and Mulli. In fact, Mulli is said to be the most isolated of all the abandoned former settlements, although some shepherds are said to live there temporarily. Interestingly, the village was the last piece of the Faroe Islands to gain electricity way back in 1970. Going further east, we reach the island of Vidoy. With a population of just over 600 people, it is only really known again for its birds and its unusual shape. Going southeast again, the small island of Streymoy, with only 26 people on it, is only really known again for its funny shape, having the last person condemned to death for heresy way back in 1583 AD. The final island we will talk about is the island of Fugloy. Fugloy is the most eastern of all the Faroe Islands. The name of the island literally means bird island. Other than that, there is said to be some rare plants along with grey seals coming ashore. Historically, the island was a safe haven for outcasts of Faroese society, including many rebels who wanted the Faroe Islands completely independent from Denmark. Also, when going to the Faroe Islands, you'll notice that they use the plug C socket. I think we've pretty much covered all the wildlife of the Faroe Islands, but I'm just going to say that the national bird is not actually the puffin, but the oyster catcher. Oh, and a final note. When visiting these islands, keep in mind that their roads are generally really windy and narrow, so be very careful. And always ask permission before you take photos of places as to not annoy the locals. So when it comes to cuisine, Faroese people eat whales. No, not that whales, as in the animal whale, which is actually a bit controversial how they hunt them. Sheep mutton, fish as mentioned before, sheep's head much like Iceland, and maybe even puffins. They also eat some British chocolate, which had to do with the British occupation years, which we shall talk about in the history of the Faroe Islands, which we will cover right now. Irish monks first arrived around 700 AD, but about 100 years later the Norwegian pagan Vikings arrived on the islands and kicked them out. Roughly 200 years later, the Faroe Islands converted to Christianity in 1000 AD. In 1035 AD, it became part of the Kingdom of Norway, and then in 1397 it became part of the Kalmar Union. This ended in 1523, and so it became part of the Denmark-Norway Union. Around this time, the Faroe Islands dropped into Catholicism and adopted Lutheranism. Around 1700, a trade monopoly system was introduced. Apparently the Faroese people suffered under this greatly. In 1814, the Denmark-Norway Union was dissolved, Norway joined in union with Sweden, and the Faroe Islands stayed with Denmark. Just 2 years later, the Faroese Longting, I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, was abolished, causing anger. However, in 1852 it was reintroduced. In 1908, following a referendum the previous year, prohibition was introduced. In 1914, World War I erupted. Denmark was neutral. The war affected the Faroe Islands not very much at all actually, but in 1919 the Faroese flag was created by a group of students in Copenhagen. In 1938, Faroese was finally allowed to be taught in schools, and in 1939 in churches as well. The same year, World War II erupted, and Denmark, the Faroe Islands' parent country, declared neutrality. However, Nazi Germany invaded a year later anyway on the 9th of April 1940 and defeated Denmark in just over 6 hours of light fighting. The Faroe Islands were alone until the 13th of April 1940 when the British occupied the islands fearing a German invasion. The British stayed until 1945 when they left because World War II ended. The next year, the Faroe Islands held an independence referendum which passed only just, but instead Denmark gave them increased autonomy. Eventually, prohibition was then lifted in 1992. Today, the only thing keeping the Faroe Islands from becoming fully independent from Denmark is Danish money. That brings us to our final segment, money and life. The Faroe Islands, being an autonomous part of Denmark, uses the Danish krone as their currency. However, they also use the Faroese krone. Goods are quite expensive on the Faroe Islands, so make sure you bring a good amount of money. And when it comes to life, most Faroese people are happy, are sociable, and are well off. If too many tourists come to their beautiful islands, they literally close down their islands for tourism. Like really? This makes the island stay beautiful and gives the Faroese people a break from tourists, or at least too many. The only tourists allowed in are volunteers who actually help the locals clean up the islands. Faroese people are also very fit when it comes to sport. They love handball, football probably the most, but they also love rowing. Now when it comes to crime, there's a detention facility on the islands but not a prison. This is because there's very little crime on the Faroe Islands. People who commit minor crimes get sent here, but for the worser crimes, criminals get sent to Denmark. The safety net is pretty good, and taxes apparently are not too heavy to pay for all of this. When it comes to religion, the majority of the Faroese population, approximately 95%, belong to the Christian faith, with most of them subscribing to Lutheranism. Another 4% are atheist, and the last 1% are made up of many other different religions. Now when it comes to education, Faroese people are generally very well educated. In fact, going to university is free for all Faroese citizens. Practically everyone can read, write and understand Danish and English. Finally, the Faroese people live an average life expectancy of 82 years. This is due to its health services, which is free for everyone. Now the Faroe Islands has 2 official languages. You probably can guess that they have Danish as one of their 2 official languages. However, you might not know, but the Faroese do have their own language. Spoken by over 75,000 people worldwide as of today, the Faroese language is a very interesting language. Being apparently the closest language to Old Norse, the language is pretty unique. What's also interesting is there are many different dialects of Faroese, but they can all understand each other. First of all, it is similar to Icelandic, however it is more closely related to Norwegian. One of my favourite things about the Faroe Islands is that when they approached Google asking them to add Faroese to Google Translate, Google just ignored them, and instead of doing nothing about it, the Faroese people actually made their own app, which is great if you want to speak and listen to Faroese. But for writing and reading, you may have to search online. A lot of my research came to the many people from the Faroese Discord server, so thanks to them. If you'd like to learn Faroese, and I have heard it is quite hard, so good luck, then maybe join their server and they are sure to help you out. So as you can see, the Faroe Islands are more than just a random bunch of islands in the middle of the North Sea. They are one of the most rich and beautiful islands you will ever visit. In fact, making this video makes me really want to go back. Thanks for watching. I'm really sorry for my bad pronunciations on lots of Faroese words. I hope you liked my video. If you did, please subscribe for more videos such as these, as the autonomous Finnish, Swedish speaking Åland Islands are coming up next.